Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed and tonight we're going to focus on the celebration of the 42nd anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day, and we will be analyzing and dissecting the speech of His Excellency President Safti that took place earlier on Thursday, and of course the battles of development and the investment for Sinai in the upcoming years as well. All this and more during the episode of the Daily Debate for tonight, and I'm honored to be having with me over the course of the episode for tonight is Dr. Ahmed Safti, the international and the economic relations expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
It's my pleasure.
Anytime, the pleasure is all mine. We will be starting straight away with the main top stories that took place for today on Thursday, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi delivered a speech marking the 42nd anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day. In his speech, the head of state described this occasion as a dear memory to all the Egyptians and the Arabs, as well as a symbol of resilience and the mark of long history of struggle for freedom. President al-Sisi noted that this precious spot of land of Egypt has long been a subject of targeting and aggression. The president saluted the great people of Egypt and the armed forces who have always succeeded in protecting and preserving Sinai, as it is an integral part of the pure soil of Egypt. President al-Sisi hailed the story of the Egyptians' stages for Sinai as an epic of heroism, sacrifice and relentless insistence on preserving the Egyptians' rights. He said that the 25th of April would always be a special date of pride in the history of the nation. President al-Sisi said that liberating Sinai from the occupation and terrorism, being a part of the Egyptian land, is a vow to be fulfilled. The head of state stressed that the struggle to develop Sinai necessitates big efforts and patience. And he reiterated that Egypt was still on the path to peace for its people and for all humanity. For the other piece of the top stories for today, First Lady Mrs. Intisar al-Sisi said that the Sinai Liberation Day reflects the Egyptian people's genius and strength in liberating the sacred land and not overdoing an inch of it. On her social media account, the First Lady saluted the great Egyptian people who have offered many sacrifices with the aim of regaining the state's dignity and pride. We will be starting straight away with the first report of the Daily Debate for tonight, focusing on the 42nd anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day and the celebration of it. So stay tuned.
لا معنى للتاريخ إن لم يرتبط بحدث.
إن التاريخ العسكري سوف يتوقف طويلا بالفحص والدرس أمام عملية يوم 6 أكتوبر سنة 73، حين تمكنت القوات المسلحة المصرية من اقتحام مانع قناة السويس الصعب واجتياح خط بارليف المنيع وإقامة رؤوس جسور لها على الضفة الشرقية من القناة، بعد أن أفقدت العدو توازنه في 6 ساعات.
On April 25th, Egypt celebrates the anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day, marking the liberation of the land of Sinai from the Israel occupation back to Egyptian sovereignty after a sweeping victory for Egyptian politics and the military on April 25th, 1982. On this day, Egyptians give tribute to officers and soldiers whose sacrifices and effort led to the recovery of Sinai from Israeli occupation. This day is also dedicated to celebrating the beauty of Sinai, which includes many tourist cities like Sharm el-Sheikh and Dahab. The cities of Al-Arish, Rafah, and Sheikh Zuyid are witnessing development in the sectors of construction and agriculture. Moreover, construction and development have turned the Sinai Peninsula into a residential attraction. On the 16th day of the October War, the second stage of the liberation of the land began through the political negotiations. Resolution 338 was issued to stop all military operations starting October 22, 1973, after the intervention of the United States and the Security Council. Egypt and Israel signed the peace treaty, which called for an end to the war between the two sides. Setting peace, the withdrawal of Israeli armed forces and civilians from Sinai beyond the international border between Egypt and mandated Palestine, and Egypt getting full sovereignty over Sinai. The peace treaty led to full Israeli withdrawal from the Sinai Peninsula and the return of Egyptian sovereignty over all Egyptian territory. On the 26th of May 1979, Al-Arish, Ras Muhammad line, and start implementing the peace agreement. On 26th of July 1979, the second phase of the Israeli withdrawal from Sinai, an area of 6,000 square kilometers from Abu Sneiba to Abu Khirbet. On 19th of November 1979, the South Sinai Governorate took over leadership and responsibilities after liberation. On the 19th of November 1979, the Israeli withdrawal from St. Catherine and the valley of the Tur, considering that day the National Day of the Governorate of South Sinai. On April 25, 1982, the Egyptian flag was raised on the eastern border of Egypt on the city of Rafah in northern Sinai and Sharm el-Sheikh in southern Sinai to complete the full Israeli withdrawal from Sinai after a 15-year occupation, and declaring this day an Egyptian National Day in commemoration of the liberation of every inch of Sinai. The diplomatic battle to liberate this precious spot took 7 years of intense Egyptian diplomatic.
Welcome back. You're still watching a very special episode of the Daily Debate celebrating the 42nd anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day, and I am honored to be having with me over the program Dr. Ahmed Safti, the international and the economic relations expert. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight. We were speaking before the first report about the speech of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. How did he see it on such a special occasion in the history of the country?
Frankly speaking, it's a special occasion from different points of view.
Yes.
First of all, Sinai, all through history, was a target of invasion. Okay, it was like every piece in Egypt. When you talk about it, we name it something.
Yes.
Like, for example, we say when we talk about Suez Canal cities, we talk about that they are standing still, they are fighting all the way, and so on. When we talk about Upper Egypt, I mean, every certain piece of Egypt has a certain thing that defines it. Sinai, when we talk about Sinai, we say, dear Sinai. We say, beloved Sinai, okay?
Yes.
That has an indication. If the whole nation calls Sinai the beloved Sinai, that means exactly that reflects the worry that is always there with the whole Egyptians about Sinai. It's a beloved part of the earth for them.
Yes.
Why do they call it beloved? Because from time to another, there is an invasion, an occupation, and there is a liberation for Sinai. That's why it's so dear to every Egyptian or every citizen in this nation, okay? It's a holy area. Now, when President Sisi today talked about Sinai, he was reflecting those meanings. Not only because we have it now, it's liberated, it's in our hands, but because we are facing new challenges in this area.
Yes.
As you know quite well, for the last 200 days, 202 days now for now, the Israelians, some of the Israelians, responsible people, they are responsible. I mean, they hold positions in the country itself, but unfortunately, sometimes they talk nonsense, okay? They were talking about taking a piece of Sinai, moving some of the Palestinians to a part of Sinai on temporary basis, and then bringing back again to Gaza Strip and so on. Definitely, we do support our brothers, the Palestinian nation on the other side. But this support does not mean by any way letting even a millimeter of the land of Sinai to anyone else but the Egyptians.
Yes.
This is like a secret thing, a holy thing for the Egyptians. Okay. Today, when the president was talking, he was reflecting all those types of worries, but not only reflecting them, but answering them as well. That nothing is going to happen to this most dear part of the land on the heart of the Egyptians, or the closest part to the heart of the Egyptians, that is protected. The army is there, the nation is there, all of us is there, and we will never let anything harm it by any mean. So actually he was celebrating the liberation of Sinai, and again emphasizing that it's 100% Egyptian land, and nothing is going to happen to affect this by one way or another. Okay, so there was lots of answers in his speech today. Adding to this, when he talked about developing Sinai, for the last 5 years, this current Egyptian regime, this Egyptian government, have spent over 400 billion Egyptian pounds in the development of Sinai area. This amount of money was not spent for the last 40 years maybe in the development of Sinai. We have developed communities, new cities in Sinai, new services, new hospitals, I mean, the development that is running in Sinai is even faster than any other place in Egypt. This reflects, okay, new harbors, okay, new projects, new industrial projects, new agricultural projects, and so on. A huge growth. One step more, the Prime Minister Madbouli, at the end of 2023, when he was talking about developing Sinai, he said that the Egyptian government aims to have 8 million Egyptians living in Sinai by 2050. That's an answer. It's not a letted place. It's not a place to let. No, this is the future of Egypt, actually. And this is how the government, how every Egyptian citizen look to Sinai. Can anyone, by any means, put his future into dangers?
No.
No one can do this. Subsequently, it's not expected by anyone to even think about having second thoughts about the future of Sinai. This is the speech that the president was giving today. Hopefully that everyone understands this speech, especially with the challenges we are facing. Right now, the Israeli occupiers are moving the people from the Palestinian Rafah. They are trying to move them to sea, or even a little bit squeezing them out of Rafah, the Palestinian Rafah, to the middle of Gaza Strip or to the sea area, okay? Trying to prepare it for invasion. That's one of the things that we are talking about, okay? Invading Palestinian Rafah gives us huge kind of flashes, okay? How we are going to respond to this. How we are going to meet these new changes and challenges that we are facing. It's a normal thing. Egyptians are used to challenges. From time to another, there is always challenges that Egyptians are going to face, either economical challenges, political challenges, or even military challenges. This nation is solid. This nation is solid as a rock. I don't care what other people might think, because there is some part of us, some part of the Egyptians, they do not know well how things go in Egyptian mentality. We have been there before the history, and we are still there until now. That's almost 10,000 years of existence, civilization after civilization, but the Egyptians are always there. And by God's will, they will be there until the dawn day or the end day. Okay, this is the idea. That's exactly, I mean, that's what I wanted to say about the translation of the small words that the president said today.
Yes, and you've mentioned a very important point, Doctor, regarding the stance of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi regarding what is happening to Palestine and more specifically to the Gaza Strip by the Israeli aggression for about 200 or more days.
Yes.
Months ago, we have seen the stance of President al-Sisi regarding the liquidation of the Palestinian cause, the forced displacement of the Palestinians out of the land, and of course the sovereignty of Egypt and Sinai in specific. How did you see this stance months ago?
Well, 202 days, that's more than 6 months. We are going toward 7 months of struggle.
Yes.
Okay, since October 7th until today. We are going to go, this fight might go for another 3 or 4 months more than this. From the first day till today, until ever, nothing changed in what the president is saying. People were a little bit doubting the position of the Egyptian government. I remember this after the first month or the second month of invasion, and the Israeli officials started talking about taking a piece of Sinai, moving the Palestinians on temporary basis. I remember, I'm part of the street. I know the street talks quite well.
Yes.
There were people who were doubting those facts. They were hesitated whether the Egypt is going to allow this or not. Yet, the government stands in a very clear position. This will never happen. At the 3rd month, there was rumors that there's going to be some kind of lean position. But the government said it very clear. Nothing's going to change. This is a solid position that we are taking. We are not going to let it by any means move, not even by 1%. Until today, this is a huge proof. For those who think twice about what the government says, what the president says, they have to really rethink with themselves. Since the first day until today and until the end of this problem, the position of the Egyptian government did not move 1 centimeter, neither to the left nor to the east. Not like other countries who kept coming backward and forward. We were very clear from the very beginning. We support our brothers in Palestine. We'll do everything that we can help them. But under one condition, nothing would affect the Egyptian, how can I say it, the Egyptian way of life, okay?
Yes.
We'll support and everything, but under one condition, that nothing is going to touch or to by any way going to have an influence or have an unneeded, okay, or unpleasant backfire on the Egyptian nation, neither the land or the people themselves, okay?
Yes. Doctor, we have seen also throughout the speech of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi mentions of the struggles that we have had to be liberating Sinai, to be defending Sinai throughout history, but also for the development of Sinai in the future. So there is a balance between the past in terms of the pride and the dignity and the heroism of the armed forces and the Egyptian citizens in defending and liberating Sinai, but we need to be looking towards the future of Sinai. How do you see the balance under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to be combating terrorism, maybe for the past 5 to 10 years?
4 to 5, at the beginning,
Yes,
4 to
exactly.
5 years,
And
the first 5
at the same time, having development and investments in Sinai for the future.
Okay. Now, security and development, they work both side by side.
Yes.
You cannot have security if you don't have a developed place.
Yes.
Okay? Sinai, unfortunately, this is the 40-something day of since we had liberation day, since we had it 42 years ago, I think, or
Yes,
something like
42nd,
that.
yes,
42nd.
The 42nd anniversary of the liberation.
So we took it 40 years ago. Okay. During 32 years of those 42 years, there was very humble development for this precious part of earth. Okay. I don't really know why, because there was different plans, but none of them was carried out at the end. I remember at 2014 there was a huge plan for Al Salam bringing water into Sinai and developing it from agriculture. But this project did not go to the end.
Yes.
Okay. Again, at 2008, because before that, 2008, there was another plan, but it was not carried out to the end. Now, what happened is, since 2017 until today, 2023, this is 5 years after liberating Sinai, not from external invaders, but unfortunately from some of the internal terrorist groups. Okay, it was liberated again 5 years ago. In those 5 years, the Egyptian government realized the huge importance of the development side by side by the security. Because if you really need Sinai to be secured, you need to have it developed at the same time. Cities was launched and cities was established in Sinai. More than 12 or 14 residential city was established in Sinai for the Sinai people, not for touristic efforts. I mean, I'm talking about for the Sinai people themselves, for the residents, for the almost 900,000 citizens who are living in there and they belong into there since ever. Okay, and hospitals were established where they can get cured. Universities was established as well where they can get educated. Huge number of schools was established in there. All of this kind of development only in 5 years. But this is not the end of the story. This is just the beginning. Because in the upcoming 5 years, the Egyptian government, as they state themselves, they intend to spend more 600 billion Egyptian pound in developing Sinai. They are aiming to develop a huge industrial zone, okay, linked to the harbors that are already there, Al-Arish or Nuweiba or other harbors which is being carried out in the same time, okay. They are around, as far as I remember, around 400,000 acre of land is going to be developed to be planted by certain kind of agriculture that does not need huge amount of water at the same time. There is all of this project carried out and being carried out in the near future. As I just said, the Prime Minister, Dr. Madbouli, said that it's the Egyptian, according to the Egyptian government, it's their plan to have 8 million Egyptians living and working in Sinai by 2050. That's like we are saying that the number of people who are going to be working in Sinai is going to be increased by 800%. That's a huge number. That means a huge country, a huge development. That means a huge relief as well to the other part of Egypt. Sinai is 6% of the Egyptian area. Sinai is 61,000 square kilometers. That consists of 6% of the whole area of Egypt.
Yes.
If we say now that there is almost 1 million living, that means % of the Egyptian is living on 6% of the Egyptian
Less
land.
than 1 million.
This is the idea. I'm said if I say 1 million, that covers everyone. That means only 1% of the Egyptian is living on 6% of the Egyptian land. No, if we are talking about another 7 million to be added to them, that's going to be proper number to be figured. 61,000 kilometers, do you know what does this mean? That means half of the area of England. England is 130,000 square kilometer.
Yes.
Sinai by itself is 61,000 kilometers. So this is half of the area of England. And in a very distinguished location in the world. It's
Africa and Asia.
It's part of Asia. It's linked to Africa. It has the Red Sea surrounds it from two sides, okay, and then the Mediterranean at the north of it. That's a wonderful location. If you want any kind of industrial projects, this is the best place to have in there. If you want any touristic project that is interested in the water tourism, okay, water sports and everything, this is a wonderful place that Egypt owns already. Okay. Anyway, the history is history.
Yes.
Okay. What happened before is not going to happen from now on, because we have a government which is very keen not to develop a certain space in Egypt, but to develop whole of Egypt, and they are taking a huge care of Sinai for the upcoming future.
Yes, and Doctor, this brings us to the second report of the daily debate for tonight, which focuses on the plans of the state, the comprehensive plans to be changing the way of living in Sinai through investments and through development. We will be having more details regarding such an ambitious plan by the new republic in Sinai in the upcoming reports. Stay tuned.
Egypt has set the Sinai Peninsula on the path of real development. It has launched a comprehensive plan for the development of the turquoise land. In this regard, Egypt has launched major and unprecedented national projects covering various sectors, linking the Eastern Egypt portal to the Delta, by making the canal cities a natural extension of the Nile Valley and overcoming all obstacles in order to attract investment opportunities. In addition to the interest in service sectors such as education, health and agriculture, as well as the focus on providing all forms of support and social protection to Sinai people who are in the core of the development. Such contributed to a paradigm shift that changed the face of life in Sinai and transforming it into a promising attraction and an environment conducive to investment and reconstruction in a state of security and stability, which has also led international institutions to command Sinai's continued development efforts at various levels. The government exerts efforts to develop investment and industrial infrastructure to attract and encourage investors in Sinai and canal cities, where total public investments for Sinai and canal cities reached 45.1 billion Egyptian pounds in 2021-2022, compared to 6.2 billion Egyptian pounds in 2013-2014, with an increase of 627.4%. The most prominent industrial projects in Sinai include the Small Industries Complex in South Raswa, which encompasses 118 units and costs 403 million Egyptian pounds, while the production capacity of the fish processing and packaging plant in Al-Qantara Sharq of 2,500 tons per year. On medium, small and micro enterprises in Sinai, 42.5 thousand projects were funded by the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency at a cost of about 1.8 million Egyptian pounds. 5,428 projects were funded by the National Project for Community, Human and Local Development, Mashruak, Your Project, at a cost of 749 million Egyptian pounds, providing 38.4 thousand job opportunities until the end of February 2022, as well as approving the funding of 788 projects from the Local Development Fund, with a total investment of 5.5 million Egyptian pounds in North Sinai until mid-April 2023. Concerning developing the irrigation system and protecting Sinai from the dangers of floods, 95.7 thousand faddans of the new land were completed within the first phase of the modern irrigation system in North Sinai. In addition, 423 facilities for flood protection were established in North and South Sinai until December 2021. With regard to the development of basic infrastructure and services in Sinai, 18.8 thousand social housing units were implemented at a cost of 3 billion Egyptian pounds, salient of which are 4,000 social housing units in South Sinai and 2,136 social housing units in North Sinai, as well as the implementation of 54.5 thousand housing units for the development of squatter settlements. Unsafe squatter settlements are no longer found in Sinai. 45 Bedouin cluster projects were also implemented, with a total of 4,100 Bedouin houses, in addition to establishing 18 development clusters in North and South Sinai governorates. The government is keen to establish an extensive transport network to connect Sinai through roads, tunnels, and floating bridges projects, where 5,000 kilometers of roads and tunnels were implemented and upgraded.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I am honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Dr. Ahmed Safti, the international and the economic relations expert. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight. We have listened to the past report, and the main key word here that I would like to be focusing on during the upcoming minutes is the opportunity or the possibility of attracting new investments and investment opportunities to Sinai. How do you see the opportunity of Sinai or for Sinai to be attracting foreign direct investments from the outside world?
Okay. All through the way, Sinai had always had the potential of attracting international investors. Okay. I remember backward, almost 30 years ago, when Britain was going out from Hong Kong because of the deal that the 100 years ended and so on.
Yes.
There was huge rumors and huge, not rumors was for the people, but actually there was lots of discussions about replacing Hong Kong by Sinai because the location of Sinai itself is incredibly attractive. Any producer, what does he want? He wants an easy path for his commodities to move from the industrial zone to the consumers. The Middle East is one of the largest consumption areas in the world. So by having your industrial projects, you're having your investments in Sinai, that means you are having an easy path and not costly at all to all of the Middle East and Europe as well area.
Yes.
Okay, this is the point of attraction of Sinai for all the international investors. As I said, for reasons that there is no need to talk about it.
Yes.
During the previous governments that was there was no real, no real interest in carrying this out. But now, currently, while we are talking now, there has been contracts signed. There is discussions going around, and there will be contracts signed for international investors who are going to start investing in industrial projects in Sinai area. And this is very important. Why? Because the development of the area itself, the development of the land, has to go side by side by the development of the human beings on
Yes.
it. What was carried out for the last 5 years, what was happening in the last 5 years, that the government was not only working on developing the land, no, but the people as well, moving them from a certain type of life, with all the respect for the culture, the habits and so on, into another kind of life, into city, modernized city kind of life, with all the respect, again, to the culture and to the habits.
Yes.
Okay, moving from regular kind of education into a technical type of education, because if you are going to develop industrial projects, you need to have labor hand which is capable and technically aware with the industry, what the industry needs of education, what type of education the industry needs. That's what was being carried out in the last 5 years, and maybe for the next years as well, and for the upcoming period of time. Okay, so those investors, and the fact when we say investors, we don't mean only international, but we mean international investors, Egyptian investors, local investors, Sinai people themselves. They invested over 4,500 different projects for the last 7 years.
Yes.
Or 6 years. There is more than 4,600 projects opened in Sinai.
They want development and progress.
This is the idea. Between small, medium, and large enterprises.
Yes.
All of this type of investments, this is huge development being carried out. So the existence of the foreign investment plus the Egyptian investors and the local investment in this area, that means a huge movement, not only for the economy, but for the economy, the people, and the prosperity of everyone who's going to be involved in this. Okay.
Yes, Doctor, allow me to be going to the third and last report of the daily debate for tonight, because it focuses on an important topic, which is the Great Transfiguration in St. Catherine, as we will be having more details regarding such an important touristic and religious attraction for Sinai to the entire world. We will be having more details regarding such an important touristic religious project in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
Egypt's government recently launched the Great Transfiguration Project, a national scheme comprising a set of 14 plans for the development of South Sinai. The project focuses on the area of Mount Sinai, behind the St. Catherine's Monastery, the place where God appeared to Moses and gave him the 10 Commandments according to the Old Testament of the Bible. The project has long been demanded by investors and Sinai residents, with the aim of achieving the optimum use of St. Catherine's natural resources and the legacy of an area full of religious sites, but that has been in desperate need of infrastructure and utility networks. The Great Transfiguration is being implemented by the Central Agency for Urbanization, affiliate of the Ministry of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities, with the joint cooperation of the Ministries of Tourism and Environment. It includes plans to reuse underground water and establish a road network linking the touristic destination of South Sinai, such as Dahab and Sharm el-Sheikh. The project is funded by the new Urban Communities Authority, based on the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, to develop the area of St. Catherine's that enjoys a high historical and spiritual value. The city, the land of peace, nature reserve, was the meeting point of the three monotheistic religions of Judaism, Christianity and Islam. The Great Transfiguration Project includes upgrading the existing eco-lodge and constructing a new one, establishing a peace park, building a hotel on the mountain, opening a new visitors center and administrative complex, and developing the touristic area and the heritage center in the city. It will also focus on upgrading the residential area of the local Bedouin and building a new residential compound, developing the valley of the monastery and constructing a new road and utilities network with safety measures against floods. There will also be a spiritual sanctuary in the mountains surrounding the Holy Valley. This area will become a premium destination for holistic and therapeutic tourism, in addition to being a Mecca for mountain climbers. The project will make available various touristic and entertainment services for visitors, such as golf cars to transport tourists from the parking area to the St. Catherine Monastery, one of the world's most ancient Christian monasteries. Besides developing St. Catherine's Airport and operating daily flights between Cairo and St. Catherine's, the project will see thermal cameras installed on top of the mountains to be linked to checkpoints to detect movements remotely. The buildings and facilities being constructed as part of the project are fully in line with international environmental standards, with the protection of the natural environment of St. Catherine's being one of its major goals. Maintaining the environmental and visual character of the natural environment was key to making a place a magnet for spiritual tourism.
Welcome back. You're still watching the daily debate, and I am honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Dr. Ahmed Safti, the international and the economic relations expert. Dr. Ahmed, of course, we have seen over the past report the importance of having the Great Transfiguration site. But what is the importance of having such a project to be linked to the path of the Holy Family as well?
Okay. as we said, it's like a jewel, okay?
Yes.
Tourism is a huge, is an important part of the Egyptian economy. Sinai by itself, it doesn't have only one tourism. It has several types of tourism. One of the most important types of tourism that it has, the religious tourism type, okay? Why is that? Because this is a piece of land where Moses had his sentiments, where the Holy Family moved through until they are into Cairo itself, okay? And backward and forward. Where Sayyida Nafisa, Sayyida Zainab, the Prophet family moved through when they were running from some kind of struggle, okay, from Mecca to Cairo, okay. So this land, it's holy for all different religions, okay. Visiting St. Catherine Cathedral is an important thing. This is like we say, fourth or fifth most important Christian monument on earth.
Yes.
Okay, so if we are going to really work on developing the tourism, we have to work on different parts. The religious or the religious tourism or the tourism because of religious monuments is a huge part in this. In before it was happening, but it was not conducted in the best way. Okay, now the development that is being carried out right now, if we had 10,000 or 20,000 visitors in before, now we can have 200,000 visitors. That's going to make a huge difference in from the economic side and from the cultural side as well. Why am I saying that? All through the history, this type of tourism always increases. It does not go down because people are not coming just to see things. They are coming for spiritual reasons.
Yes.
This they cannot find in any place else, this place.
No alternative for it.
There's no alternative for it.
Yes.
I mean, if we are talking about, to talk about water sport and so on, you are competing with Spain, Greece, and so on. But when you talk about a religion kind of tourism, there is no other alternative. People are going to come to St. Cathedral, St. Catherine Cathedral, will not go any place else, okay? And if you have the proper way, the proper services offered to them, the number is going to increase 1 year after another, okay? And this is important for the Sinai people themselves. By the way, they have always been asking for this, okay? But now, maybe now is the proper time for it, and that's why it's being carried out right now.
It could be as well having job opportunities and investment opportunities for the people coming from the outside world and for the residents of Sinai.
Definitely, and that's why I was saying this was always a demand from the local Sinai citizens, okay, because they know the importance of such a thing. Tourism is very important because there is huge cultural interference, okay, and especially when we talk about spiritual tourism, it's one of the most, or the nicest type of tourism that any country can have.
Yes, Dr. Ahmed Safti, the international and the economic relations expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Thank you.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of a special episode of the Daily Debate for tonight, focusing and celebrating the 42nd anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.